So, hi everyone, and welcome back to our second ever Truth Telling Tuesday, because Tuesdays are for truth telling. Today, I come to you with my soul sister and friend and co-founder of Trees for Birthdays, Shamim. And we're going to be talking today a little bit about some of the things just to be a bit aware of when it comes to these promises of carbon offsetting off the back of tree planting. And so, yeah, I'll hand over to you, Shamim, to say a little bit about how that's experienced or the greenwashing perhaps that we see in Tanzania.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I'm so happy that we are doing this today. And I would like to say that when it comes to tree planting is a very wide thing and a very big concept that just requires care. And I have seen people talking about, for example, planting maybe 100 million trees in a year or 10 million trees in a year. And that alone, for me, I think it's something that is very possible. But the problem comes here, like, who is going to take care of those particular trees? Because this whole concept is all about growing trees. We want to grow trees. We just don't want to plant trees. Somebody can plant over tens and tons of millions of trees, but they will not mature. They will not grow. That is why, from my experience, I think we should not just focus on how the amount of trees or the number of trees that we would like to plant, but rather focus on the number of trees that we would like to grow. Even if you grow one tree, is very, very important, rather than planting tons of millions of trees. And then at the end of the day, you get nothing out of it. So to my experience, I just believe growing trees is just the best policy towards conservation, and especially when it comes to tree planting.
Oh, absolutely. And like you really highlight that point there of 'cause you shared with me the example of some of these ghost forests that you have where like massive corporations have come in and planted a million trees, say, but that's literally it, right? So what happens? Like what's in that land now? Like
Yeah, so it happens, and I think it's not only in Tanzania, but it happens, I think, everywhere, especially with all these things that are going around, like talking about climate change being a threat. And to me personally, I don't see climate change as a threat. It is just a reality that we all need to face and address it with the urgency that it deserves. So people are trying to somehow taking advantage of the whole concept, and just getting all these big fundings and saying we are planting trees, but when you come to the ground, there's nothing that is going on. There's literally nothing that is happening. And that alone affects the whole concept, because we're talking about the whole cycle of bringing back Mother Nature. We are talking about for nature. What are we doing for nature? How are we connecting with Mother Nature? And we cannot connect with Mother Nature if all we do is just, doing all these big stuff and then putting them on social media. We did 100 million trees here. We did 100 million trees this month. So it's just like, you understanding Mother Nature. And once you understand Mother Nature, that alone is going to give you that love for Mother Nature. And once you have the love for Mother Nature, then greenwashing is just not your thing. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And that's one of the problems, right? Because we have these like carbon credit schemes where you can offset and sell the tree planting to offset emissions. But there's so much tied up in that, because it almost not every case, like we have to like stress so much. Like this is about truth telling. It's not that every single company that's telling you that they are planting trees and offsetting their emissions, it's not that they're all bad in greenwashing. It's just unfortunate that we have to do the groundwork to be sure of what they're saying. Like we need to hold these claims to account, because in some regards, like your carbon offsetting through tree planting is giving a green light for business as usual, which we know is so damaging And if you're planting saplings, for example, it takes a number of years. There's a time lag between these trees being planted and them actually being able to sequester carbon and offset emissions. And so yeah, like it's a really complex and complicated, nuanced issue that we will come back to like time and again and explore in more detail. And also like part of what we're doing with Trees for Birthdays, of course, is you know, campaigning to help governments and policymakers really like put our efforts in the right places and go forward with positive tree planting projects. And so yeah, like, and the other thing that we do with Trees for Birthdays is highlighting that under the same like umbrella of issues, so we're talking about tree planting here, whilst in Tanzania you might see these ghost forests, for example. In Scotland we have I guess like there's certainly a bit like there's the level of protection. So for example, now any like what's the term, like official carbon credits. And this is another thing to be aware of, is that there are companies that will sell like false carbon credits, almost like there's a black market there too, which is dangerous in itself. So it really needs us as like, you know, the guardians of Earth, as our green warriors, to be holding to account, to be checking and seeing that these schemes actually are delivering what they're promising. But in Scotland, so for example, now it's not acceptable for monoculture planting or tree factory planting. By tree factory planting, I mean planting of trees that will essentially be felled 20 years from now. So that's not accepted in these official carbon credit schemes. But we still have a massive problem in Scotland right now of a land grab, essentially, of corporations and kind of the rich, wealthy elite buying the land, pricing us off of our land purely to be able to plant trees or do rewilding schemes, and it's at the cost of local communities and people's access to nature here in Scotland. So like everything, like it always starts with a good intention, but we need to be aware of some of the consequences, such as these ghost forests or the land grab, and really start to take action on these things before they become too permanent within that system. And Shamim, I'm going to hand back to you just now, just to wrap up with obviously we were choosing this topic today as our Tuesdays for Truth Telling, because a lot of this is what's really inspired us to found Trees for Birthdays.
So something that really inspired us is just like, you know, the love for Mother Nature. And as I had said earlier, once you love the environment, then you feel bad if somebody is destroying the environment. And I believe everybody knows that trees are the lungs of the earth. So like the moment you cut down the lungs, then it means it will stop breathing. And once it stops breathing, then it becomes a disaster. So that is why we are saying we are having climate crisis. That is because we decided to cut off the lungs of Mother Nature. So it is all our responsibility. Like, let us just change this narrative of climate change into climate action, and just say, yes, we can do this. It is all our responsibility. If we can do it, then somebody else can do it. Let us all just grow trees rather than having all these policies of planting trees, of wanting to, you know, to achieve 10 million trees in a month. To me, that is, I don't know, maybe to other people it's very possible, but to me, it's very impossible to plant 10 million trees in a month. and then like expect all of them to thrive or something like that, unless there's something that's driving you into that, and like there's something behind it, you want to get money out of it or something like that. But once somebody who is in love with Mother Nature, they really understand, they have that deep feeling for the environment, and they're like, oh, I need to protect the environment. Even if I'm gonna plant that one tree, I believe I'm saving the world. I'm saving somebody. And the beauty of planting trees is that you will never know the person that is gonna use your shed. You'll never know the person that is going to sit under that tree and say, wow, I'm feeling the breeze. So you just do that. Just give it, and the best way you can, being kind and being kind to Mother Nature and other people, is just by giving out a tree. Just plant out a tree out there and let somebody feel the breeze from your tree, and let them say, yeah, this is a very big legacy, by the way. Just planting a tree, you're leaving a legacy behind that nobody will ever forget, and Mother Nature will ever forget. And another problem is that it is not a problem, but the environment is just looking at us like, oh, you just do everything you're doing, like, okay, destroy me, do whichever things you're doing. But at the end of the day, you'll all be gone completely, and I will rise like the sun and thrive again, because I can survive on my own. The environment can survive on its own, but we cannot survive without the environment. That is why we, as Trees for Birthdays, we just asking everybody to take that responsibility and say, I can conserve the environment. Let us just change that narrative of climate change, that it is not a threat. Let us just relax and just conserve the environment, and everything is just gonna be all right.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much, because you touch on a completely other like truth telling topic there, that like so much of the system that we are stuck in, that is so damaging and destructive, like both to us as individuals and to the planet as a whole. Like that system seems to think that it can outsmart nature, but it
Yeah,
can't. Like it
it
really
cannot.
so if you take
It
nothing
will never.
away from today's truth telling video, it's that like we cannot outsmart nature. We want to work with nature. And that's
Exactly.
exactly, and working with nature is so good for us all as individuals. Like it's not just about well, we say it's not about saving the planet, it's about saving our species, which incidentally is an SOS. But it's also like it's so beneficial to like ourselves, and that's one of the really nice kind of things about the trees for birthdays, is that it allows you to connect with nature, it allows you to connect with culture as well, and connect with others, by taking guardianship of the trees that are planted for your birthday. And so you have that connection, you have that legacy. It isn't just about ticking a box for some carbon taxing. It's a proper like human nature connection, that we can help you to get with your trees for birthdays. So that was a really cheesy plug for trees for birthdays, but I really hope that you can see that the trees for birthdays is so much more than planting trees. It's a philosophy, a mindset, a way of life, one that is kind to our souls, to those of everyone and everything that lives on earth, and is so much more than planting trees.
We grow trees.
Yeah, absolutely. We grow trees and we grow
Yeah,
love.
exactly.
Oh, brilliant. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that before we wrap it up?
For me, I think this is this is a good thing. Like it's a good startup for us as well, and also for other people to just wake up. Like just a wake up call to everybody. Like we should just all wake up and know that the environment is just watching us. Mother Nature is just watching at us and laughing at us. And instead of making Mother Nature laugh at us, we should just at least stand up and stand out for the environment and say, we are here for you, and please be there for us as well. Don't abandon us, because once you decide to abandon us, then we will become like orphans, and nobody would like that. And the good thing with Mother Nature is that she never chooses who to take or who not to take. She just takes everybody. She never chooses which. It doesn't matter which class you are you a politician, are you a what, it just takes everything away. So let us just all stand up and take up that responsibility and just say, my environment is my responsibility, and let's keep the fire burning. Thank you.
Absolutely. Or let's keep the fire of passion and creativity and growing trees for birthdays and that respect for nature growing, and that maybe is a fire that can put out the fire of our planet, our house being on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, just for anybody that is listening along to this and hasn't come across the work that Shamim and I are doing together with Trees for Birthdays, you can see like it's still very, very early days. We should highlight this. Like it's growing organically, but we're having so much fun with it. And it really is turning into something special and getting a lot of good support. So if you want to like follow our progress or see what Trees for Birthdays is all about, you can find out more information at www.tfb.earth, and do sign up to our newsletter. We'll have a monthly newsletter starting this month. We will update on all the progress as we go from founding Trees for Birthdays and the directions that we're going forward. So thank you for listening, and happy Truth
Bye-bye.
Tuesdays. I forgot what day it was there.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's truth-telling. Yeah.
Brilliant.
We
Okay, well,
did it.
we'll wrap it there somewhere.